So the way we then want to rephrase this is by going inwards and into ourselves, which is going to sound like, I want to tell you this, but I'm afraid of rejection, but I'm afraid that I'm not enough, that I'm afraid that actually I don't really matter.
It's a subtle difference, eh? Because it's just you're saying the same thing, but in the end, you're kind of coming back to yourself instead of that dumping onto the other partner.
Yes.
It really is a subtle difference, but powerful.
It's such a subtle difference that I think could completely change how a conversation goes for a couple.
For sure, because if that's how you're starting with this implicit blame, like it's not a great start.
And it's confusing, I think, because then when we say, well, I started by telling you I'm afraid. I
Yeah.
started with a feeling. I told you my feelings.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Yes, the feeling was attached to a blame, though.
Right.
Because then you're saying, if you were different, if you could do all this stuff, then we'd be fine. And so the subtle shift is going into yourself and trying to understand, what am I feeling? What do I need?
Yeah.
And it's often not anger and frustration. That's the secondary emotion. That's the emotion that's protecting you from feeling the deeper stuff. The core emotion in there is something softer and much more painful. It's often around fear, sadness, loss, pain, and they're attached to these core needs and longings that are really hard for us to talk about. This is not about the house being clean. This is not about planning a date night or, who's doing bedtime with the kids. This is about, do I matter to you?
Yeah.
Am I important to you?
That's good. Okay. So in that moment, you talked about slowing down.